Well, today we're talking with Elizabeth Gilbert, the author of the runaway smash hit, Eat, Pray, Love. And you've written a new memoir called Committed, A Skeptic Makes Peace with Marriage. So tell us, how did this second book, it's not actually a sequel, is it a sequel?
You know, I don't object when people call it a sequel, but I think of it more as the companion to Eat, Pray, Love. I feel as though it sort of finishes the story or fills it out in a more rounded out kind of way. And you know, it's the same characters. You know, at the end of Eat, Pray, Love, I fell in love with this Brazilian gentleman when I was in Bali, and the Committed sort of takes up where that left off, which is with the two of us sort of building a life together in the United States and making a very solemn commitment to never, under any conditions, ever get married, because we've both been through really bad divorces. And we were living very happily like that until one day the Homeland Security Department pulled him aside at the Dallas-Fort Worth airport when he was entering the country and arrested him and threw him out of the country. And the only way I could get him back was to marry him. So we were sentenced to wed, and the book became a means of me working through all my issues and my aversions with the whole institution of matrimony, so that by the time we actually got married, I could sort of embrace it rather than feel like I was being, you know, committed, literally.
So really the government got you two to get married.
Yes, it was an arranged marriage. It was arranged by the INS.
But when you were going through that process, did you think that was gonna be the book?
No, I came up with it. I came up with the idea for the book. What happened was that he ended up having to stay out of the country for almost a year as we tried to get the paperwork done to get him back in. And I went and stayed with him, which I was fortunate enough to be able to do. And we went to Southeast Asia because it's the most inexpensive place in the world, and we didn't know how long this period was going to last.
Right.
And during that time, I really decided I need to figure out what this thing is. You know, all I know about marriage is that I failed at it, and I'm frightened of it. You know, and that's not enough information. And so, the best and most efficient way that I know to learn something is to write about it, because it kind of parboils your attention and forces you to really crystallize, you know, your intellect, and really gather your information and with great discipline come up with conclusions. And so that's where I came up with the idea to write a book about it. Literally, I would call it a self-help book, because the intention of it was to help myself through this process. But I also know, especially from having written Eat, Pray, Love, I'm a pretty representative 21st century American woman, and the questions and fears and hesitations that I have about things are pretty similar to what a lot of other people have as well. So I figured, you know, I can't be the only person who has these problems with this.